Good evening and welcome to our daily devotional reading. A special welcome to the members of our make-believe monastery, those commenting and or subscribed. It's really good to have you here again tonight. I hope you had a good day. Either intoxicated or not, it is Friday. But don't tell Jordan that I said that. Let's close our eyes for a second. Turn inward. Open our minds and open our hearts. Because the heart has reasons that reason knows nothing about. Something like that, right? Let's listen to Plato. On what is knowledge, the great question of this dialogue. And he is in conversation at this stage with a boy, I imagine 13-year-old or something like that. Let's say 15 because I'll tell you afterwards. Socrates. You have heard the common explanation of the verb to know. Theaetetus. I think so, but I do not remember it at the moment. Socrates. They explain the word to know as meaning to have knowledge. True. I should like to make a slight change and say to possess knowledge. Theaetetus. How do the two expressions differ? Socrates. Perhaps there may be no difference, but still I should like you to hear my view, that you may help me to test it. Theaetetus. I will if I can. Socrates. I should distinguish having from possessing. For example, a man may buy and keep under his control a garment which he does not wear. And then we would say, not that he has, but that he possesses the garment. Theaetetus. It would be the correct expression. Socrates. Well, may not a man possess and yet not have knowledge in the sense of which I am speaking? As you may suppose a man to have caught wild birds, doves or any other birds, and to be keeping them in an bird cage, aviary, which he has constructed at home. We might say of him in one sense that he always has them because he possesses them. Might we not? Yes. And yet in another sense he has none of them, but they are in his power, and he has got them under his hand in an enclosure of his own, and can take and have them whenever he likes. He can catch any which he likes and let the bird go again, and he may do so as often as he pleases. True. Once more then, as in what preceded we made a sort of waxen figment in the mind, so let us now suppose that in the mind of each man there is an aviary of all sorts of birds, some flocking together apart from the rest, others in small groups, others solitary, flying anywhere and everywhere. Let us imagine such a bird case. And what follows? Bird caged. And what follows? Socrates. We may suppose that the birds are kinds of knowledge, and that when we were children, this receptacle was empty, Whenever a man has gotten and detained in the enclosure a kind of knowledge, he may be said to have learned or discovered the thing which is the subject of the knowledge. And this is to know. Granted. And further, when anyone wishes to catch any of these knowledges or sciences, and having taken to hold it, and again to let them go, how will he express himself? Will he describe the catching of them and the original possession in the same words? I will make my meaning clearer by example. You admit that there is an art of arithmetic. To be sure. Conceive this under the form of a hunt after the science of odd and even in general. I follow? Having the use of the art, the arithmetician, if I am not mistaken, has the conception of numbers under his hand, and can transmit them to another. Yes. And when transmitting them, he may be said to teach them, and when receiving to learn them, when receiving to learn them, and when receiving to learn them, and when having them in possession in the aforesaid aviary, he may be said to know them. It is repeated, it's not just me. Exactly. Attend to what follows. Must not the perfect arithmetician know all numbers? For he has the science of all numbers in his mind. Whoopsie daisy. True. And he can reckon abstract numbers in his head, or things about him which are numerable. Of course he can. And to reckon is simply to consider how much such and such a number amounts to. Very true. And so he appears to be searching into something which he knows, as if he did not know it. For we have already admitted that he knows all numbers. You have heard these perplexing questions raised? I have. May we not pursue the image of the doves and say that in the chase after knowledge is of two kinds. One kind is prior to possession and for the sake of possession, and the other for the sake of taking and holding in their hands that which is possessed already. And thus, when a man has learned and known something long ago, he may resume and get hold of the knowledge which he has long possessed, but has not at hand in his mind. True. That was my reason for asking how we ought to speak when the arithmetician sets about numbering, or a grammarian about reading. Shall we say that although he knows, he comes back to himself to learn what he already knows? It would be too absurd, Socrates. Shall we say then that he is going to read or number what he does not know, although we have admitted that he knows all numbers and letters? That again would be an absurdity. Then shall we say that about names we care? Shall we say that about names we care nothing? Anyone may twist and turn the words knowing and learning in any way which he likes. But since we have determined that the possession of knowledge is not the having or using it, we do assert that a man cannot not possess that which he possesses, and therefore in no case can a man not know that which he knows. But he may get a false opinion about it, for he may have the knowledge, not of this particular thing, but of another, when the various numbers and forms of knowledge are flying about in the aviary, and wishing to capture a certain sort of knowledge out of the general store, he takes the wrong one by mistake. That is to say, when he thought 11 to be 12, he got hold of the ring-dove, which he had in his mind when he wanted the pigeon. A very rational explanation. But when he catches the one which he wants, then he is not deceived, and has an opinion of what is, and thus false and true opinion may exist, and the difficulties which were previously raised disappear. I dare say that you agree with me, do you not? Yes. And so we are rid of the difficulty of a man's not knowing what he knows, for we are not driven to the inference that he does not possess what he possesses, whether he be or be not deceived. And yet I fear that a greater difficulty is looking in at the window. What is it? How can the exchange of one knowledge for another ever become false opinion? What do you mean? In the first place, how can a man who has the knowledge of anything be ignorant of that which he knows? Not by reason of ignorance, but by reason of his own knowledge. And again, is it not an extreme absurdity that he should suppose another thing to be this, and this to be another thing? But having knowledge present with him in his mind, he should still know nothing and be ignorant of all things. You might as well argue that ignorance may make a man know, and blindness make him see, as that knowledge can make him ignorant. If blindness could make a man see, knowledge could make a man ignorant. Theaetetus. Perhaps, Socrates, we may have been wrong in making only forms of knowledge are birds, whereas there ought to have been forms of ignorance as well, flying about together in the mind. And when he who sought to take one of them might sometimes catch a form of knowledge, and sometimes a form of ignorance, and thus he would have a false opinion from ignorance, but a true one from knowledge, about the same thing. Socrates. I cannot help praising you, Theaetetus. Probably like pinching his cheek. Oh no, 15 is a bit too old for that. And yet I must beg you to reconsider your words. Let us grant that what you say then, according to you. He who takes ignorance will have a false opinion, am I right? Yes. He will certainly not think that he has a false opinion. Of course not. He will think that his opinion is true, and he will fancy that he knows the things about which he has been deceived. Certainly. Then he will think that he has captured knowledge and not ignorance. Clearly. And thus, after going a long way round, we are once more face to face with our original difficulty. The hero of dialectic will retort upon us, "Oh, my excellent friends," he will say, laughing, "if a man knows the form of ignorance and the form of knowledge, can he think that one of them which he knows is the other which he knows?" Or if he knows neither of them, can he think that the one which he knows not is another which he knows not? Or if he knows one and not the other, can he think that the one which he knows to be the one which he does not know, or the one which he does not know to be the one which he knows? Or will you tell me that there are other forms of knowledge which distinguish the right and wrong birds, and which the owner keeps in some other aviary, or graven and waxen blocks according to your foolish images? and which he may be said to know while he possesses them, even though he have them not at hand in his mind. And thus, in a perpetual circle, you will be completed to go round and round, and you will make no progress. What are we to say in reply, Theaetetus? Indeed, Socrates, I do not know what we are to say. Socrates, are not his reproaches just? And does not the argument truly show that we are wrong in seeking for false opinion until we know what knowledge is? That must be first ascertained, then the nature of false opinion. I cannot but agree with you, Socrates, as far as we have yet gone. Thus far our scripture of the evening. So young Theaetetus became 15 because this passage reminds me of a friend of mine whom I've known since we were 15 years old. She's an artist, South African, and loved birds. And for the longest time, a lot of her work centered around birds. And she still does bird watching with her husband, so I had to think of her. And also this whole learning thing, of course, we were in high school together. And there are so many, especially from the mathematics class, memories that flood my mind at the moment with her. I think I texted her today that I miss her. So that's good. Or yesterday, can't remember. So I like this idea of the bird cage and knowledge being birds that we gather as we learn and that we share as we teach. And I would like to play with that because I think there's actually something in this image. I do like thinking in images. So we can only catch the birds that are available in our environment. We learn only that which those around us know. And hence, false opinions. Because many of us have been taught, if not all of us, have been taught false opinions. And false ways of thinking. Maybe I would add that as a type of bird. Ways of thinking. Or what is that? What would that be in a bird cage? Ways of thinking. Because I was thinking, ignorance is no bird at all. Ignorance is the lack of birds. The lack of true knowledge, the lack of false opinion, all of that is ignorance. And I get how sometimes we catch the wrong birds and make mistakes, like not 12 but 11. That actually makes sense to me. And then a reply to the dialectician about, what was his question? Can't remember will you then need more, what other wax tables or cages or things to judge. That is when we get to metacognition, right? That's the big word, isn't it? When we start thinking about our thinking, trying to get knowledge about our knowledge, and judging our birds, holding them up against new birds that we've caught in bigger forests as we venture out into the world. Currently we can catch birds all over. And then we compare the birds which we have to the birds which we catch newly, and all of them. So it's a type of, that's just taking note of our birds. And some birds aren't compatible at all. The one can be in the cage or the other, not both. And that's when we need to start questioning which one is the true knowledge and which one is the false belief. And maybe they're both true knowledge. And then we need to build a bigger cage. Go beyond. And we can only catch what we have. When we're in the cage. And we can only catch what is available to us to put in our cage. Or can we make birds of our own? Is that false opinions, making birds of our own? Ooh, yes. So now I have the idea of breeding. And some of our knowledge breeds well together. And from true knowledge and true knowledge, we get true knowledge. And some of our knowledge do not breed well together. And from true knowledge and true knowledge, we might actually get false opinion. And that's how we make our own false opinions. Or maybe by accident, we take true knowledge and breed it with false opinion. And then it's a false opinion that is born. So what is knowledge? A beautiful bird. Maybe I should link Adele's work. I think she might be my oldest still actively in my life friend. I do still have other friends in my life from before, but that's basically Facebook. Not actually seeing each other whenever we can. I just met a friend of mine from high school that I had in the high school before I moved to the one that Adele was in. I just saw her in London in November. Quite by coincidence. Well, we meant to meet, but it was her birthday coincidentally on the day I bought a ticket to see Alex. And I texted her happy birthday, and she asked me, when are you coming to London? So I said, wow, I do actually have a date. But we haven't seen each other since high school until that day. Adele and I see each other whenever we can. And Adele and I were friends instantly as well. I came in the classroom, the new girl. The teacher asked who will take care of this new girl, and Adele raised her hand. And we've been friends since. We caught many birds together. And very likely also many that were false opinions. And many true ones. May you catch beautiful, true birds. And may the spirit of Sophia be with you.